It stuttered for a second. I was like, don't you dare. Don't you dare. It's fine. It's doing its thing. Hello. Welcome to tonight's episode of Age of Myth. We are here. It's Tuesday. Yay. Yay. What was I going to say? Let's see. Okay. Announcements. Tomorrow.
Vampire.
Woo! Age of Innovation returns on Thursday, provided nothing else goes terribly wrong again.
Give it a minute.
Yeah, literally. Last Friday, had a great time with the Star Wars crew once again. Looking forward to torturing them next month, as I think month-long, what's it called? Month-long cliffhangers are some of the most dastardly things I could ever have done. Like, oof. It's just like, well, now you'll have to wait an undetermined amount of time until we can coordinate our schedules again. Yeah, good times.
Martell.
Sure, why not?
I'm gonna give
we all
Martell
should.
grace this time, as he played with flu. So
That's fair. That is fair. He did good. He did good.
I got a message from him. Yeah, I've got enough drugs to get through the Star Wars game, and I was like, "Bud,
Yeah,
Yeah,
That was before he got sick.
yeah."
He's like Sudafed, some amazing stuff, and then right towards the last 20 minutes, I could tell it was wearing off as he got the 1,000-yard stare. I was like, well, it's a good thing we're
No. It was activating at that point.
all right. Cool. Well, I think I don't have a whole lot of announcements, so let's jump into tonight's episode of Age of Myth Act 1. Woohoo! We return to a few hours prior to the last few events. The battle here at Thebes, while victorious, contained within itself a very costly toll. The creature known as Phobos, now defeated, most of his fragment allies of the plague also brought to ruin. The creatures that had been infected by the plague over the course of the last several centuries, those that weren't defeated now fled. Rescue efforts now having been brought underway here in Thebes, as rubble is moved and uncovered and the survivors are pulled from the wreckage of their once glorious city. The evening is filled with adrenaline, worry, and also exhaustion. It has been a long, long night. During this time, most had been put to work one fashion or another as they are trying to be quick about these rescue efforts. But even amongst the hustle and bustle, Phoebe, where does your mind go as you remember the events of the last few hours?
I think in taking in all that power, I don't think there was necessarily an expectation that she would return. And for a moment, she didn't until she was reborn. And on top of the immense exhaustion and dying and being reborn,
As one does.
Yes. I think it's that quiet meditation of the reality of what just happened.
You think back to as you're busying yourself with your hands doing these tasks, trying to help however you can, providing light in the darkness in the middle of the night now. Even amongst all of these things, every now and then you still get those moments where your mind turns towards everything that has happened, and that feeling, that rush of fire and power, the crackle of that burn as the fire had rushed through your body, as the power filled you, unlike anything that you had ever felt before. It wasn't just the fear being just like an operative term here. Like, it wasn't just the fear of the moment of like worrying about everything that was going on. It was pushed aside with a focus as you had channeled that fire. The crackle of it, the sound of it, the heat of it as it had pulled and pushed you to limits that you did not know you had until it went beyond that and you were no more. And for that brief blip of the last thing you remember being that fire and heat, to suddenly finding yourself steadying your body under wobbly, weak knees as you were reborn once again, and feeling that there had been no time passed from one moment to the next. And yet somehow in the back of your mind, something tells you that a lot more than a blink of the eye had passed in that time. And it is during a brief break when you find yourself seated as Themisto is but like a few feet from you, wrapping wounds on someone who's had one of their legs badly crushed or broken, we'll say, and she's like wrapping it in a splint, and you're sitting there, the exhaustion now kind of settling in as the beginning of dawn is starting to break. And you hear the gentle yet heavy thuds of footsteps walking towards you, and you see the android body of Apollo come over to you and sit down and like kneels down in that weird like battle droid kind of way, like it just like compresses its legs up against its chest and almost sits in a perfect little like box of itself. And he looks up at your face. How are you?
I'm here. That's more than I thought I would be able to say.
I am sorry that we have not been able to speak up until this moment. It has been a rather busy evening.
They need help more than I need to talk.
It may seem as much at this point. But at least you have those you may speak to. And you have those who have experienced such things in the past. Some of us did not always get a mentor's advice or anyone really experienced in what we as Orphics go through.
I get to benefit from the pain you walked along.
Not completely alone, but partially, sure. It tries to smile at you. May I sit beside you?
Please.
It like shifts over and sits down. It lifts a hand that's like golden and marbled and jointed, and just kind of like does like a little finger thing with its opening and closing it. Not my preferred form, clearly. You handled the power well. Despite the outcome, it was more than can be expected at times.
I heard you and I knew what I had to do.
Your return in a fleshly form, while grateful, and I am grateful that you were able to return in such a form. Be cautious that such power, if it happens again, may not have the same result.
No, I'm under no impression that I get another chance.
We might. Who is to say?
Don't know if I'd go test it right now.
Please do not.
I think the Mister would bring me back just to kill me again.
There are many things that we don't know about how these powers will affect us over time. We are still learning ourselves, about ourselves. Sometimes I wonder what our foe was like before he achieved the power he did. Was he like us? Was he vile of heart? Or was it simply choices made along the way? I will be watching over you as best as I can.
I would like to get to know you as you know, knowing that who I knew was but a part of you.
Still me, but not. Me given an opportunity to live amongst mortals of a different age, of a different mind. I'm afraid I am rather boring.
Nonsense. Diodorus could not have existed if you were bored.
There's another little slow nod and smile. We will speak again soon. Get some rest.
Will.
He reaches over and grabs your hand and just kind of gives it a little squeeze. And once again,
Squeeze back. And that weird metallic, like unflinching.
and despite that, it gives in a way of almost being soft. Like the joy there, you find that it has more articulation than it appears, and it just kind of folds around your hand a little bit more than the metal would initially seem to. Before he stands, goes over to Themisto, kneels down beside her as she kneels in front of this injured person, places a hand on Themisto's back. And Themisto, you feel a warmth and a comfort from his metal hand, but in the sense of he transfers some energy into you. And he, as he looks at your work, he's like, "You are a talented healer."
Thank you. It is. I can't say I expected my powers to manifest in this way, but I am glad that they did. It has been doing a lot of good.
I don't know if any of us expected our powers to manifest in the way that they did. Well, maybe for Ares. He's always been a warrior. He looks back over at Phoebe. She will need help. There is a great amount of pressure still. Guide her as a priestess would.
Don't intend to leave her side. She is more than just a traveling companion to me.
I am aware. But even more than traveling companions need advice from time to time, unfiltered by our emotions.
Mm.
You all are a wise woman and would and have done the Gorgani people proud.
Would that they could know.
Perhaps one day. He stands. We will speak again soon.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you, Lord Apollo.
You may call me Apollodoros.
Apollodoros, then. With Mr. Beams.
He bows and then goes towards the god's tent. Sometime after this, as you both are resting, you watch as the shuttle arrives from the skies above, as it coasts down from the stars, and these foreign people present themselves. These not Orphics, not Terrans. Fast forward more time, and you find yourselves exiting the tent after having spoken to Zeus. A new outlook possible on the horizon as the fold is about to be built anew, stronger, hopefully, with more Orphics, hopefully. As of this moment, there are roughly about 100 within the fold, spread across the globe. Perhaps one day, many more will protect this place from any further damage, from any further incursion. Phoebe, as you guys are standing outside the tent, you see Hera walk out and go over to amongst some of the other, I'll say Apollonian, the other Olympian Orphics. Too many words in my head. We're now in Kentucky. Appalachia. That's what I was. Appalachian Orphics.
That's the other sequel.
Sheesh.
I'm ready.
That would be wild as heck. Ding 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 ding. I cast fireball. Anyway, okay. You have kind of been eyeing her a little bit throughout this evening, and occasionally you. Their eyes met more than once during that conversation with Zeus. You see an opportunity to go speak to her now. Do you take it, or do you wait for another time?
I'll go ahead and take it.
Goddamn, 6th level. Woo!
Stop reading chat while you're DMing.
Listen,
You
I can't
learn by now.
I can't help myself sometimes. You walk over to her as she is in the process of like giving some orders. Basically she's still, even though anybody who can be found has been found at this point, right? Like, I was pretty sure this is the most rescue efforts have been, but she is giving instruction to some of the other Olympian Orphics who have arrived, and some of those who have come from other places, as their garb seems to not match anything that you have ever seen before. She's in the process of giving instruction of make sure that there are plenty of supplies, make sure that those who are going to be wanting to travel have what they need to get them wherever they're going, etc., etc. She, without turning, kind of, there's a tilt of her head in your general direction. I was wondering how long it would take you to come and speak to me.
Yeah, take care of the people here first.
Good. Then we can continue to do so. Come with me. This is also not the song that I was looking for.
You get spooky or whimsy.
I was like whimsical or spook. There is no in between, apparently. You know what? We're just gonna go and we'll do.
Spooky whimsy. Shouldn't it just be what's this? What's this?
Mhm.
My kid has made me
There's
listen to that
Stevens
song
everywhere.
almost every morning. He's on a Halloween music kick.
Come with me. She goes towards the one of the tents that has those who have been brought here to recover. There are those who are injured. Plenty of healing has gone on here, as those whom Asclepius sent have done the best that they could to heal those who have been brought here. But she comes over nonetheless and starts to check cot by cot places, like some mother places the back of her hand on the forehead and like seems to zone for a second before standing and going to the next cot. So
I want the chance to speak to you with a more level head.
it is been my experience that is rarely ever going to happen with any of us. Especially those of us in the positions that we have. There will always be something. There has always been something, she says. That is just the way of life.
It was never my intention to hurt him, but I know that things could not have happened without it.
She doesn't say anything for her time.
There is pain and growth, and unfortunately, he took more than his share of it. I sincerely hope that it is in his future for someone a better match. Someone for him to grow old with.
She stands, straightens her dress a bit, and looks at you. And searches your eyes. I have seen enough heartaches to last a lifetime. The heart does stupid things sometimes. Especially whenever it's things that we believe that we want more than anything. Whether that is the heart, that is lust, or jumping at the moment when something feels right. I saw everything. I saw how things were declining. And my disappointment was not in what was done, but the how. But you are still young, and there is much to learn. There will always be much to learn. I myself still am learning things. I do not claim to have a perfect life, a perfect relationship. But what I do have has come from time, dedication, trust, and devotion. These are the things that are important in any successful and long-lasting relationship. When I saw none of those things given, I knew it was doomed to fail. But still I hoped. I ask that you show those things now, in this second chance.
I would give anything for her.
It is easy to say, less so when the opportunity presents itself in a truly final way. I believe that you
Phoebe
would.
almost wants to snark. She kind of did that, but she's
Yeah.
one of the first times ever, she's not. She's got to keep it on the inside.
She goes to one of the attendants comes over and makes mention of like the lack of something, and you see that she momentarily distracts herself, goes over to the side of this bed and takes cloth, and as she like folds it over itself, she transmutes this cloth into another kind of cloth, creating something from something else, manipulating its rough. It's almost like she takes sackcloth and makes it silk out of it. Like it's that kind of a drastic transformation. Then tells like the attendant, this should help, and then stands and like focuses again on you. I do believe that you have a your sense of devotion comes from your mother.
I don't think I ever thanked you. I didn't know who I had to thank.
She was a beautiful dancer. Very talented in completing the rites, but a beautiful dancer. And she was very dear to me. I am glad that you only have the stubbornness of your father. Aside from that, he was extremely selfish. But I see the devotion that your mother has in you, that your mother had in you. There will come a time, I'm sure, when that devotion will be tested. What you do then will speak volumes as to who you are. You will have to choose, and those choices will be difficult. But know that I will always be listening. Sometimes An answer is not what we need or seek, but someone to listen. Apollo will listen, but he gets easily distracted. His attention never was very focused, constantly
of-
shifting and moving.
Why a temple of Apollo? Why not one of your own?
The hunch. Call it the mother's intuition. No offense, but
I would have gone into so much trouble at one of your temples.
and I don't need that kind of reputation. Better for Apollo and his mirthfulness. Plus, had it not been for Corinth, you would not be anywhere near who you are today.
No.
You're welcome, she says with a snarky smile, but you can tell she's joshing. She seems to hesitate for a second and then brings you in for a hug and pulls you close in the way that a mom or auntie will do that even if you don't really want to, but there is an insistence about it that is familiar, if a little bit like, ah.
I think it'll take just a second, but then Phoebe will let herself fall into it. This has been one of the first, really ever, maternal hugs like this.
Mm-hmm. She holds you for a time and then kisses the top of your head. And when she pulls back, still holding, like one arm still like wrapped around you, pulls back enough to like lift your chin up to look at her, and like brushes some of the hair off to the side and tucks it behind an ear. You really do remind me of my sister.
Did she... Did you lose her in the fall?
I don't know. Wherever she is, if she fell that day or has just simply gone into hiding, I have tried to find her. But there are ways to keep yourself hidden from sight. A blessing and a curse, I suppose. That no divine eye might see you. Sometimes I wish I could do the same. Just to get a moment's peace. But that has not been, nor will ever be my life. She looks around at everybody. I'm a mother first. Always. Wife second. Caretaker. Do me proud.
I'll do my best.
I would hate to have to send you to your room. But don't think I won't do it.
See, now it's almost worth getting on your nerves to see how that would work. But don't worry, it's only an errant thought.
I am aware of how errant thoughts work in our family. Let's not. I have more work to do, and you have your own things you must attend to. I wish you luck.
Hera, even mothers need to rest, or so I've heard.
Yes, well, when you have 1 billion children, tell me how well that works out for you. Go. I have things to do. She suddenly becomes like, oh, I'm so busy. And goes to one of the attendants. It's like, what are you doing? This is all wrong. And then she like goes and like tucks this guy into his bed a little better. It's like, ugh, amateurs. It's just... Then comes the moment of saying goodbyes. Even if they are just temporary. Astrid being pulled away to find Eric's and her crew. Laertes being taken by Thrennian to who knows where. More on that later. I think that conversation was had after you guys had rested, right? So this is like from what I remember, you guys had rested, you guys had slept. That was then after you woke up and had gotten like breakfast was whenever
That's
you
right,
guys.
because Laertes and Themisto had their little sleepaway camp combo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Let's go with. We're going to shift again. We find ourselves with Astrid disembarking the shuttle on a small hilltop overlooking Athens. There's a small house set here on the hilltop that overlooks all of the city. The ginormous statue of Athena catching the light of the moon glinting from its surface as you see the temple that's there. My mind went blank. I'll say the agora, but the temple that's there on the top of the hill in Athens. That one, you know? Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm. You see that there is light inside of this house. And as you disembark, thank you, Parthenon. You disembark and start walking up the path, and you feel the wind blow past you behind you. And as you turn around, you see that the shuttle is like lifting up into the night sky, and it becomes invisible. Just kind of like disappears.
She is going to walk up to the house. Normally there's a clothesline with some clothes drying on the wall.
You walk up to the house, and as the you're like 4 steps away, getting ready to knock.
Wait,
What up?
I wouldn't knock.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter because once you're. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Okay, she wants to take the clothes on the clothesline. fold them and bring them into the house.
Okay. As you're 4 steps away with arms full of clothes, the door is open. And light shines from inside as Eric stands in the doorway with a lantern. I thought it was you. I would recognize those footsteps anywhere. Loud and clunking. She smiles.
She puts the she puts the clothes on her chest, and she like goes in to hug her quickly. I was so worried that you and our crew had sailed out towards the city.
No. She kisses your forehead and then your nose and then gives you a light little peck on the lips. No. Astra would not allow it as much as I tried to fight her.
Mhm.
She's lucky that she's Orphic. I would have won otherwise.
I believe it. I've seen you fight.
The crew, she like nods towards the city. The crew are in a few inns that are there by the ship. It awaits at the docks.
I was going to ask. Nikos.
Stuffing his
Nico's
face,
okay.
probably.
I missed you. I have missed you dearly.
What happened? You can see that her lips are trembling like she's on the verge of crying. What happened over there? The horizon lit like a second sun. And there was a thunderous boom that we heard even from here. I could feel the heat in the air.
All the way from Athens. We did it. And Phoebe. Phoebe defeated the darkness.
Phobos?
Yes.
She okay?
He is, but she was reborn in a way. She's okay.
Reborn?
Reborn in fire.
That light was her?
There was more. In order to defeat Phobos, because we fought him inside of some kind of world that he had created, a twisted place. We were not winning, and she made the sacrifice. Turns out she didn't have to die for the sacrifice, but that was the intent. And he burned away in her fire. Though some of the city burned away with it. A sacrifice that the gods deemed necessary for the sake of the rest of the world to survive.
How many were lost?
Eric's. To almost the entire city. She takes her hands.
There were thousands there.
There were. We found about almost 400.
Luck. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I could not be there to help you. I will kill Astra.
She thinks about the fact that Davos is gone, and that her being there probably would not have been good. And she goes in to hug Eric's again. I love you so much, but I would not have you be there, even if you were kicking and screaming. We lost so many good people that day.
Do I need to fight you too?
You remember the two Hobgoblin Spartans?
Yes.
Briefly. They did not make it. And I can't find Mal, our scribe. The queens of Thebes are gone. And so many hardworking people in a flash. But we won't have to worry about Phobos any longer. There is still darkness somewhere in the depths of shadows and unseen places. There is a threat that still lingers. We're going to find it, Eric.
Of course. Have you eaten?
I haven't been thinking about food, actually.
Well, you better not say that to your mother.
How is she?
She steps back and like gestures inside.
She'll
We'll
take
go.
the clothes in and give her a quick kiss as she walks past her.
Eric smiles and just kind of shakes her head and like follows you in, closes the door behind you. Inside, you see your mother in the kitchen. As she is in the process of cooking at the moment. She turns slowly. Eric's, who was at the door? And then she looks at you standing there.
Mitera. I brought the clothes in. How are you doing?
She very much begins to weep and comes up to you and gives you a hug. Pushes the clothes to the throws them from your hands and pushes them to the floor and comes up and gives you a hug.
She squeezes tight.
She looks up at you and like grabs onto your face in this like very strong grip for this older woman, just like grabs onto your face and like moves your head around.
You could give Phobos a run for his money. You're going to rip my face off.
If I have to, look what you've done to yourself. You're so dirty. You've got scars. Why did I wind up raising an animal? And she gives you a kiss on your forehead.
At least I'm not Makis. The no good.
You could, you might as well be. You're just taller and.
Ah.
She smiles and then like gives you like a hearty like pat on the face. Come, I was just making dinner for everyone. It's good to have you home.
It's good to be home.
Isadora is going to be upset. She went into the city for the night.
Mm. She won't be coming back tonight.
No, probably not.
Hmm.
She went to go visit some friends. It's not like we knew you were coming because you never tell us when you are coming or going.
I am a Capitanios. We flow with the ocean and and the wind or something.
Of course. A useful excuse to never visit your mother.
I try to visit. You know I visit Athens when I come to port.
She's not, she's like, she's giving you a hard time, but you know that it's just to hide her like rampant emotions from overtaking her, and you can feel it in the way that she like chides you a little bit.
How big is Recreo Gil? Is he taller now? Taller than me.
She like smirks a little.
Oh.
Hopefully he doesn't grow too big for his britches, though.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to run in all of my all of the family. You settle in quickly. The night continues on before too long after some reunion with your siblings. Eric's has helped clean up the table, puts dishes away. And at the moment it's just you and your mother sitting at the table over a goblet of wine.
Did you see the flesh?
She nods.
It.
Was that you?
He was a friend. But I was involved, yes. Things could have been much, much worse.
I am glad that they did not. I couldn't have lost you. Eric has told me much about your adventures, your discovering of yourself, although we always kind of knew you were special. That's why I told you to wear that helmet. You can't be running with gods and goddesses without protection.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to smash you along the way.
I mean, I wear the helmet all the time. I have it with me on
Where?
shit. I just left
Yeah,
it with Eric's for that last bit.
Nah.
We were in a rush, so.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to stay here now? No more sailing around?
For a bit. I'll stay here for a bit, and I want to make sure that you're being taken care of.
I think you forget where I come from. I can take care of myself.
Can. You're always strong like grandmama.
Yeah. Strong genes run in our blood.
Mm-hmm. Even after...
I don't know what genes are, but it doesn't matter. You get the point.
Even after Papa, you're still so strong. And I realize that now that I am an adult. What you had to do. I don't know that I could have done the same, raising all of us.
I would say you have it a little worse. You have
I
a
do have
crew.
to take...
You have a crew that you have to take care of. Tell me that they're not a bunch of grown babies. They throw up on themselves. They poop themselves. They fight themselves. They fall off the ship. You have to make sure that they're not, all accounted for. Tell me you're not a mother of grown ass babies.
At least none of your babies have died. So
Yet.
I see you did great.
I always worry about that, And you keep trying to die. You're going to put me in an early grave with this stress. I'm glad that you have found yourself, that you have found your way.
Mama, I want to know where this power comes from. Grandmama talked about the night goddess. Is it a coincidence?
I don't know. It could be. I don't know where this came from. None of our family, as far as I know, has had any sort of gift. But we discovered that device when you were a child. No, before that even. I was pregnant with you. And something happened when your grandmother brought it in. She had wrapped it in a blanket and discovered it in a field or something. I don't know. She was drunk at the time, so who knows what the truth is. And I remember grabbing it to put it away before she broke whatever it was. There was a spark. Like when you rub linens together and grab something passed into me. I always thought that it was odd and that it never did that again.
It has been my guide, my has been a companion to me.
I would say it has been a part of you for a long time.
Found someone to help me channel
Yeah.
those.
Astra, we've
Yes.
met.
You met her? Okay.
She's as stubborn as you are. She's the one who brought Eric's here and said that she was to wait until your return. And I thought, well, either she's returning in a boat to the ferryman, or she will be coming kicking and screaming because she doesn't willingly come to visit her mother. So here we are. And I'm glad that I was wrong.
For so long after the monsters went away. And I know you protested as much as you could not to go into that field of profession, but
Yes, because what am I to say to the ladies next door or down the street? Oh, yes, my daughter Astrid, she's beautiful, she is fair, she is talented and strong, she's fighting monsters, she's hunting beasts of the sea that swallow men whole. You know, it's a great conversation starter at the well.
well, I'd always has the feeling that you weren't proud of this, and it was hard to come back. We failed the monsters, but I never really became anything of it. Artemis. I failed Artemis.
Oof,
And
good luck. I'm kidding, by the way. I'm sure you're fine. You haven't been turned into a bear or a pig or anything by now. I think you're probably off the hook.
that's true. Yeah, she's done that to a couple of the girls.
Some people deserve it. You don't, not my daughter, but
Not my
others.
No,
Yeah.
never.
There's actually a couple of girls that I know that probably deserve it. I should probably pray to Artemis, have them turned into the swine that they are. I love you. You know that.
Yeah.
And despite how much I hate what you do, I'm very proud of you. You would have made our family, my family, back home, very proud. Sailing and carrying on, fighting monsters for battle. I know that you don't do it for the glory, but you make your ancestors proud. Perhaps someone out there, some little person would be like, oh, I want to grow up to be like Astrid one day. I
Maybe
can't
someday.
imagine who would be so foolish, but I'm sure there's someone out there.
Maybe.
Well,
I wanted to grow up to be like, to be as strong as you, to be as cool as Grandma.
I think you've succeeded and surpassed.
She gives you a hug.
She hugs back.
I miss our little talks. I do need to come visit more.
Yeah. Before I wind up in a big flash in the sky.
Oh. No, don't say that.
I'm your mother. I will say what I want. She, like, pats your cheek and then gives you a little slap playfully. Now go to bed. Go on. Eric's is probably waiting for you for a while now.
Thank
Keep
you
it-
for the food.
Keep it down.
Ah. We will.
Uh,
We're probably gonna go outside anyway. Under the stars. Oh, not like that.
So weird. Just like your father.
Mama.
Go on.
We're just going to go talk in this under.
Just
Okay,
like your
I love you.
father.
Bye.
And how many siblings do you have now?
Oh,
I just want to talk. I heard that before.
mm.
I love
Okay,
you.
bye. I
Bye.
love you too. Chick-fil-A.
Love that.
That went well.
The evening is spent with Eric, talking out amongst the stars. While you two are laying on the blanket looking up at the expansive galaxy that just covers the horizon. You watch as this beam of light that just kind of not, well, it's like a shooting star, but it moves so much slower. It just like flies, like goes over towards the moon and goes across. You hear the crunching of grass from the nearby tree. You see Astra walking to you. For player description, a almost military suit on. She's got it has somewhere between military and like a pilot's jacket on. This is a look that probably hasn't been worn in close to 1,000 years. I was going to say I hope that I'm not interrupting anything, but I know that I'm not because I waited until it was clear. Eric's, do you mind giving us a moment? Eric shrugs and, of course, stands up, doesn't bother putting anything back on, and then like walks off back towards the house.
That's Eric's.
Honey Badger don't give no shit.
Is she not more beautiful than Saturn?
Did you just compare your girlfriend to a planet with rings?
Gonna put the ring on it someday.
I walked into that one. She grabs some of the fruit from the basket that's close by. I have to talk to you about something.
Oh.
I received orders from Zeus. He wants to make sure you don't mess things up. You need some training.
Like looking for Baldora. And him finding us instead of the other way around.
Something like that. We have.
Spoke.
He told me. We have a goal. And we have allies that will help us with this goal, but you have much work to do. As an astral, there are powers that you probably don't exactly know that you have yet. You will still have time with Eric's. This is not going to happen soon. Or at least it's not going to happen immediately. But a hunt begins soon. And with that hunt, we try to find the rest of the infected. For only then will we be able to try and reconnect with our sisters, brothers and sisters. Once we are sure that we are clear and safe here. But we must also prepare for anything. We have visitors that know that we exist after a fashion. Who knows what that will mean for us in the future. And there are only so many pilots. You know how to fly, to navigate in the sea? Well, we're going to teach you how to navigate in the air. You must learn to fly before you really learn to fly.
Makes sense.
Good. Well, I will let you go and get some sleep. But we will be speaking soon.
I can't wait till we find our sisters. To see you reunited with them.
Well, it will definitely be something. You go back to the house and get some sleep. Cyprus. That following night, now that everyone is kind of going and doing their things at the moment, you've watched Astrid leave, you've watched Laertes leave, you've watched Themisto and Phoebe spend a very precious evening together for the first time without any major, not necessarily interruption, but any major like attack, drama, or anything that's happened in the last few days. Asterion is there by your side as you watch them like laugh and talk as they're enjoying a late night dinner before you try and everyone tries to reset their sleep schedule. You have really found your way. Far from being a simple protector of one, you have found your way into being a protector of many.
Working on the success rate. But he does say that with a smile. It's a lot easier to protect one. I wonder if I should have left. At least in part. There's obviously much that I gained while gone, and I certainly can't say I regret going, but part of me wonders if things might have been different if I had simply remained through all this mess.
I think so. I think we'd be dead right now. Or changed part of whatever this plague thing is you spoke of. Look at who
I'm
you've
glad
met.
You're not dead.
Me too. I will have to make sure that I don't think I will ever be able to repay that cap. What was her name?
Astrid?
No.
Phoebe?
Threnian.
Thranian.
For saving me.
that.
I owe her my life.
I think we all do.
I have been thinking.
We always do.
I don't think it's quite fair that you've gone out and seen the world, and I have not.
Are you
Sure.
proposing a trip of some kind?
Well, sure, I want to, rebuild Thebes one day, but hearing Themisto talk of seeing the world as a Pythia is supposed to, so that they might understand the world better, I would like to understand this world better. I've only learned so much from... You hear his voice crack. From my mother's. But they also never wanted to experience it, nor did they wish me to experience it.
I'll put an arm around him. You know, there's a risk to experience. There's danger and sadness in knowing things that you currently don't. But there is great goodness and happiness that comes with that too. I can't say that I'd be much of a guide. I was very much along for the trip throughout most of it. Very happy to have a captain and a scholar and other very knowledgeable, wise people as companions. But I will miss the city. I'm certainly what it was. But if you are sure that it is worth leaving now, trying to come back later, there's nowhere else I'd rather be than with you.
Well, it's a good thing that I find myself to be a bit of a scholar, and even if I have not experienced it, I have read about things. And you can definitely keep me out of trouble, maybe. And if we get into trouble, then so what?
So what?
We can learn the hard way, I guess. But I'm glad that I want to have an adventure with you, Cypress.
I want to go on many adventures with you, Asterion.
So let's start walking. Not right now, but
I was
tomorrow.
about to make a joke of how we could only walk so far, but looks out over the lack of the water. Looks like that actually is a thing we can do now. Well, we won't need to commission the boat for a while.
No. There's a gentle breeze that rustles around both of you. The smell of rose. Your eyes narrow in suspicion. But nothing is said or done. Asteria just leans over onto your shoulder.
I love you.
I know. I love you too. He like
I thought
reaches
you were
around.
going to leave me hanging with that one. one leg.
It reaches around and like bops you on the forehead. Just like as he's like, pff.
Careful, I am battle hardened. I might have reflexes and
He just like he like still leaning on your shoulder, just like shakes his head. No,
kiss him on the forehead.
you're weak.
How dare you?
I am your greatest weakness. What are you talking about?
I have a weakness. Does not
there's-
make me weak. Freaking show you how weak I am.
I dare you.
Okay.
For the night, as another night passes, the next day, most of the Orphics are now dispersed. A lot of what is left seems to vanish as if it was a dream. Those are the survivors who are now able to walk again, are now gathering together to exit Thebes. They gather together on the great docks of the old city and step down from the steps that used to lead into the water and onto dry ground now. A caravan is made. Thebes is left silent for a time. The caravan leads out to the neighboring cities. From there, the survivors of Thebes begin to separate, moving to different parts of the globe. For Themisto and Phoebe, it is time to return home. Cyprus and Asterion go with a group of young primordials that are basically doing the bro road trip around Greece, intent on seeing sites that have only been read about. But Cyprus has a little bit of knowledge to him. He's been to Argos. He's been to Sparta. And far down the south sides of the Greek mainland. He's been around. He could lead the way. What's the worst that could happen? But as we skip forward in time a little bit, Themisto and Phoebe, you find yourself walking down a autumn road where the color of the trees are beginning to change, the leaves falling from the gentle breeze. And Themisto, just around the bend, you see the house of your mother and father.
We are just there. And that's the place.
Oh, stop in our tracks and squeeze your hand. Are you sure? What if they don't like me?
They're going to love you.
You continue to walk the path to the house. And that is where we're going to go to break. Ooh, boy.
Aaron, what is this music? The world needs to know. It's given such Lord of the Rings vibes.
This is Welcome to Heaven, and it's from the game Talos, the Talos Principle.
What a fantastic song name for this moment.
All right, whatever.
We
All right,
just can't sail into the west.
Yeah, you can't sail to the west.
I'm sorry.
Too soon.
All right.
Man.
All right, we'll be right back, guys. Don't go nowhere. Yahoo! All right. As you guys walk along the path to this little cabin in the woods ish, you can see that all of the trees that kind of surround this hut, house, cabin thing have a version of wind chimes, but they are all wooden and like clank around as the breeze. Some of them look like hanging ornaments of cooking utensils. Some of them look like really long reed-like shapes of people. There's just, each one is its own little nifty design, brightly colored, painted. Some of them have shell or beads or like glass that is like wrapped or tied to these pieces. Some of them catching the light, some of them just offering this musical quality of this space. As you walk up to the door, Themisto, there is a tumultuous flood of emotions. Excitement, expectation, maybe a little bit of nerves. It's one thing to say to someone, oh no, they'll like you. But then at the same time, in the back of your mind, you're like, please like them. Please like them. Please like them. Because truly the most unknowable creatures in this universe are parents. You never know what they're going to do, even though you think you know what they're going to do. And then you probably are right. But there's always that what if. And the nostalgia of seeing this door frame for the 7,000th time, but not in so long. Seeing your childhood home once again after years and years and years. There's, as you're walking up to this door, and you look up past the house and through the break in the trees to the skyscraping mountain range behind. As you see Mount Parnassus in the distance. And now with a new understanding of what it is that you're looking at. There's a brief, quote unquote, that's so Raven moment of imagining you swear you can see that mountain differently. Its shape changed. A cliff that cuts deeper into its side than exists now. And various Orphic craft that fly to and from this mountainside. And then it's gone. And you smile and frown at the mixture of emotions there. That seeing something maybe in history, or is it maybe just your imagination? The excitement of that moment, but then also the sadness of it being gone. As you can now imagine where that cliff had been, you could see that the slope of the mountain seems to like carry down in a certain direction where it had been collapsed on itself. But then you refocus in the moment, and you are at the door.
I say quietly to Phoebe, these chimes are so that people know where they can come to buy things. But it also means I can never sneak up.
They're beautiful.
I'll walk through the door, bringing Phoebe in with me.
Okay. You. Just kidding.
Uh-oh.
There's a moment where you take in a deep I'm home breath. That thing that you do, whether you realize you do it or not, every time you walk through the door of your own house. And this is just as a player like description. Like, you, even if you don't realize it, it's one of the first things that we all do when we enter into our abode, is you kind of just go that, and then go about doing whatever you do. But for whatever reason, whatever part of our nature is in doing that taking in of that first breath of your home, your heart leaps as you smell the cedars and the wax and the paints and the sap of different kinds of trees, of the crafting materials that are associated with your home. You hear a voice from behind, and Phoebe and Themista, as you enter into this first room, it is both an entry room, like a living room sort of thing, but also perhaps a little bit of a display room. There are lots of shelves here that have various wood carved things. Some of them decoration, some of them functional. You see vase upon vase of like spoons and ladles of various kinds and colors, different kinds of woods, different kinds of stains. You see wooden toys. You see furniture that probably stands out in this day and age as being different. Not in that it's unusual, but just perhaps unknowns to those present. There is a memory of a time long forgotten that kind of still exists in the minds of the people of this planet, where the idea and memory of, I'm going to make something like this, speaks to something that is so deeply in everyone's genes and DNA that we don't realize it. And in this home, there is both the now and the past and the future. Just a minute. Coming from around the corner, an older human woman with brilliant green eyes comes around the corner, and despite her age, she has a sparkle to her aura that is instantly infectious, and you all die of the plague. Instantly infectious, as she walks. She's in the process of drying her hands on a little piece of linen, and she's drying her hands. You see her arms are bedecked with bracelets. They clank and clack together as all of these wooden bracelets of different sizes and different types kind of move up and down her bare bone arms. Yet, despite the bare bone, there's also a muscle to it of someone who works with their hands a lot. So she's got nice forearms, but at the same time, they're just small. And it's kind of one of those miracles of life when women wear these bangles that should, for all intents and purposes, fall off their hand the moment they bring it down, but somehow they manage to keep them on their wrists. This is one of those situations where these bangles just sit and catch on maybe her thumb or something, and they just kind of dangle off to the side, but they do so in a way that like boggles the mind as how she's keeping these things from just clattering to the floor around her. She stops, and Phoebe, as you look upon this woman, you see an older human Themisto face. It is not an exact replica, not an exact mirror, but the image of someone who in a different time, in a different body, would be the same exact person. And she stops and she just looks at Themisto with these wide eyes. Oh, dear.
Hi, Mama.
Oh, my precious little girl. Come here, Emerald. And she comes and pulls you into a deep hug. And like, despite the slight height difference, like pulls you down to where you kind of stoop into her shoulder. And she grips you tightly. And then like releases you and like kisses all up across your forehead. Oh, I was not expecting this.
No, it's, I wasn't sure when I was going to be back, but I am done with my journey, and this is Phoebe.
She like peers around. Hello?
Did my letter get to you in time?
Letter. No, I don't think I have received. We have not received the letter yet.
Oh, well, in that case, Phoebe is someone I care about very much. Clutches her hand.
There's like a really warm smile. How sweet.
Nice to meet you.
Of course, come here, come here. And she like gives you a hug as well. I am so happy that I was able to see you. Are you passing through?
Mama, she's my girlfriend. Or do you mean, am I just passing through?
No. She's like, her mouth kind of hangs open for a second. She's like, oh, I was referring to you, Themisto, but it's very nice to meet you. I am going to have to ask for your forgiveness, Phoebe. I was not expecting company this day, and I had my hands up to my crafts up to my elbows just moments ago. I am going to have to put that aside. I will have to prepare food for my little Emerald's return and for this person that she holds so dear to her heart.
Would you like any help?
No, That would be an insult to the gods. I will prepare things for you. You have traveled, I am imagining, quite some distance. Rest. Relax. I will take care of everything. Let me
You
go
can
get
let her help you, you know.
the misto. You know me way too well. I will. Fine, Emerald. Fine. Come with me. She's so stubborn. Come. And she takes Phoebe and takes her over to the kitchen. Themisto, are you thirsty? Do you want something to drink? Have you been traveling for very long?
I know where we can get water. I'll go in and get some for myself. It's okay.
Your father will be home soon. He went to go get some things from the village. Hopefully, he brought enough things that will be able to get us by for the day. But tomorrow, I'm going to make sure that we go into the city and get plenty of things for a welcome home feast. How long are you planning to stay? Do you still have much traveling to do? Or please, you come tell me everything.
The mister will go ahead and just follow over into the other room then,
Yeah.
since we're still talking.
Yeah.
We may have a few more journeys ahead of us, but I think we are here for a while.
There's just like this she's like nodding. It's like, okay, it's very good. How did your journeys go? You have to tell me everything. And as she is like asking Themista questions, she's also giving Phoebe some direction and like, oh, will you grab me the things from behind this counter over there? And like they start gathering just food and snacks and things for the time being.
And if there are any figs, I will grab some of those as well as we're making this little snack board.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say there's some fruit. I don't know if there might be. Why not? We'll grab some figs from our imagination and put them here. You spend the next hour or two speaking and relaying everything. The extent of which, how much do you tell her of everything that happened? Or do you go into like full detail?
In my letter, I didn't mention the danger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I can really hide that at this point, and it's over and we're safe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think looking at Phoebe as we kind of talk about this, my inclination is to be truthful. We don't have to get into all the details,
Right.
but to be truthful. And to relate that the way that she and Dad had always encouraged my connection with Gaia,
Mm-hmm.
that it was important, and maybe do a little like allow some blossoms to come from near the sword when I touch it.
And then I don't remember where you originally got your bracelet from, but if
It was from her.
then she would see it on Phoebe's arm.
Mm-hmm.
So, Phoebe, she is that girl that I talked about so many times when the temple brought us on a trip to Corinthos. I lost the bracelet. She's the one who saved me.
You didn't lose it. I was just keeping it safe for you for all those years.
Mm-hmm.
As you're speaking, your dad returns home. Ismaros walks to the door. You can hear him from the other room. Neira, I hope you're got the water boiling because I have just he like stops. It's like, by the gods, look at you. He comes over and like lifts Themisto from her chair and like spins you around like as if you were still a child and not a grown woman, but like the ease in which he just like lifts you up and spins you around is sends you back to being a child again. And he like embraces you, and once again introductions are made, and Neira, your mother, comes over and gives her husband a little kiss on the cheek, and she goes, so we're going to have to make another trip into town tomorrow morning, and we'll have to make sure that we are going to prepare everything for a good feast. This is not going to do, but I appreciate you nonetheless getting everything that was on the list. And he's like, there's a little bit of like, oh man, but no, of course, I will do anything for our little emerald.
We could help. I have not gotten to see Delphi yet.
Sure. I mean, why don't you just go and enjoy yourself and see the city? We can take care of the errands.
And that would be nice. I was wondering maybe if the four of us would go dancing together too. If we have to go into the city anyway.
Would you rather do that than have dinner here?
Well, we've got a few days and, well, the rest of all of the days, maybe. So.
Okay. Sure. Yes.
Either way.
Okay. Yeah, no, of course. We can celebrate. It would be nice. We have not gone out for quite some time. But yes, here, sit, relax. You're going to have to start the stories over to tell your father. I could not do anything nearly close enough to do it justice the way you have. And so, an evening is spent regaling stories of travels, friendships, and a love. By the end of the night, both your parents are speechless is definitely a good enough word.
Mm-hmm.
While they had always known that daughter would achieve greatness, having personally met the a majority of the Pantheon was probably not high on the list of probabilities for them. Nonetheless, there is a mixture of pride and parental terror as they ask you to like make sure that you were appropriate, that you minded all your P's and Q's in front of these powerful individuals.
And I'll just add a little bit. It's like, oh, she was so good. I was the one who could not stop running my mouth and got into so much trouble.
And the slight mortification at some of the casualness at which you reference these individuals. But in time, they get to grow used to these stories. there's probably not a better example of a comfy, we'll call it normal life that Phoebe has ever seen. You probably haven't seen a mother and father like this for an extended period of time in as close of a setting. You've seen mothers and fathers before. That's not that surprising, but this is different because as growing up an orphan, this is everything that you would have imagined a mother and father to be. The fact that they belong to two different species is not even apparent when in any shape or form. For you see here the mixture of her father's strength and confidence, her mother's beauty and poise. The fact that Themisto was called a miracle is left without question. Before you realize that it is now well into the night. And as you are getting ready for sleep, you're of course welcome to stay in little Themisto's old room, as uncomfortable as maybe that might be in this somewhat smaller bed that has not been fixed for.
I'm gonna say you don't want to squeeze on a twin bed.
I mean, you can definitely try, but it's probably best that you pull the mattress off the wooden frame because that I'm imagining it not only being intricately carved, but definitely sized for like a child. So you would be like sleeping with like legs at an angle up on top of a footboard kind of thing. But yeah, it kind of becomes a slumber party in Themisto's old room. Having spent most of your later childhood at the temple, they kind of had kept this room as a like not necessarily a Themisto shrine, but just as a memory of their little girl that has now grown up. They do have a guest bedroom where you could also stay in, but the option is there, wherever you like.
I think before we settle in, I'm gonna say to Phoebe, take a little walk with me.
Of course.
And we'll walk out behind the house down one of Ismaros's, her dad's little forester trails, and then off to a bench sitting with a view of Mount Parnassus. And she'll sit down on it and pat it.
I'll sit very close to you.
You know, so what do you think?
It's everything I could have ever dreamed for.
I thought they would like you. Then I have to meet the Padilla tomorrow.
Which, what are you more nervous about? Your parents or the Padilla?
My parents are wonderful.
They
As
are.
much as they call me Emerald, they are the Gems. So, you know how I was writing in my wax tablet on the way, trying to figure out what I would say to the Padilla about our journey?
Mm-hmm.
I think I figured the words out. I was trying to stop myself from getting tongue-tied tonight. As I told you how much I love you. How odd I am when you take to the sky on your wings of light. How I smile when I watch you joking with Cypress. Or soporting Laertes. Reassuring our Capitanios. The way I alight when you stand up for the things you care about, or how I melt with the cute blush and glow you get when I talk about you this way.
She's blushing a little like a baby.
How my heart stopped when I thought you were gone. The mister's gonna shift on the bench to face Phoebe and take her hands with her wrists crossed so their bracelets touch. And she's going to say, Phoebe, my hero, my sunbeam. When we broke free from the nightmare on Mighty Atlas, we promised in whispers never to lose each other. And we have behaved in this way ever since, but I wanted to say it out loud. Just look into her eyes. Will you marry me?
Yes. I never want to be apart from you again.
The Misto is going to pull in from that little touch into the biggest kiss.
There are Phoebe's crying, but I like to think instead, like the tears glow as they run down with her little bits of light. Because after all, they're happy tears.
I meant to do this at sunset, but we got carried away.
We had to tell the story all over again, and sometimes that's not a story you can be long-winded or short-winded on. Don't worry, Harris already threatened to, I don't know, ruin me if I mess this up.
Sure, we can let that happen.
I told her I do not intend to.
My Phoenix.
My mister. I love you so much.
I love you to the ends of this world and beyond.
Cannot wait to see how many lifetimes we get to live together.
The Misto is just overcome. And I think we can let that be the end of that night.
Okay. The excitement and bustle in the morning of your parents organizing a breakfast is what wakes you both. The clatter of the wooden dishes, the hushed, quote unquote, tones of trying to be quiet to
There's
let
something
them
about
sleep.
parents who think they're being quiet early in the morning and they are absolutely not.
No, I told you, go and get that. I have to do it myself. I don't understand what you want from me, woman.
The cup falls off the counter and it's just like knocked across the floor.
Yeah.
Hydro
So
flask
many
drops.
core memories unlocked right now.
Breakfast is had.
Misto, do you tell Mama and Papa?
Hmm. Yeah. S- So, as we're eating breakfast, Mama, Papa,
I feel like Phoebe has not stopped glowing.
I introduce Phoebe as my girlfriend, but I need to make a little correction to this. So I think fiance is a better word.
The eyes are widened and the eyebrows reach the scalp line. And you expect us to just go dancing tonight? As if we aren't supposed to try and celebrate?
Well, we can celebrate.
Don't worry, I'll take you dancing. Just like I promised to take you flying.
Oh, well, we knew. Wait. How? Have you changed your mind?
With everything I learned, I heard from Gaia herself that one can guide people and also have someone special to them. It's not exclusive.
When I fell in love with the Misto, I thought it was just going to be for a short while. I was very happy to hear Gaia's answer.
And frankly, and I don't mean to be sacrilegious, but I couldn't live without her now. I'm going to find a way. I know it will be harder for the election, but people were always going to. I wasn't going to get every vote, let's say that. And Themisto will kind of pat one of the snakes that was kind of coming down and investigating, trying to get closer to her food.
They seemed to consider this what you had said for a moment. Well, know that we are both very proud of you. And we only just met you, but we will grow to love you just as much as we have loved our daughter.
Only be so honored.
Have you spoken with the Pythia?
That is the next big thing I have to do today.
Your mother comes over like to you and like grabs both of your hands. Whatever happens, know that we will support you however we can. And if your heart is telling you that this is where you belong, should like nods towards Phoebe. This is where you belong. Pythia be damned. It was something that we thought you needed to be. But it should be something that you desire. That is what our lives are for. Enjoy the happiness that this brings you. The life of a Pythia would always have been difficult challenging and lonely. Perhaps people, perhaps they would accept this, and that would be immeasurably grateful for that. We would be immeasurably grateful for that. But truly, the happiness of our daughter matters more than titles and responsibilities. From the stories you have told us, there is no one way to serve those around you. Becoming a Pythia is a lofty goal. But you have also healed many and guided many more. You have been in the company of gods. And it sounds like we'll be continuing to do so. Perhaps being Pythia is not worthy of you. And you're destined for something far greater. So whatever happens when you speak to the Pythia today, remember that. You have already surpassed her in many ways.
May I group hug my parents?
You can certainly try.
Phoebe, get in here. Do I need to roll a grapple check?
With advantage, since you are flanking. There's a really tender moment of just acceptance and love and unity here for the rest of the day. It is felt. Part of you, while maybe intending to go to the Pythia today, maybe you'll put that off till tomorrow. And you revel in for lack of a better term, that perfect day. Thank you, Legally Blonde. Where you spend it with some of the people that matter the most to you. That evening, as you go out and celebrate in more ways than one, you find yourself spinning and dancing as a band at this like small little tavern that has a small little band that was traveling. Surprisingly, goats.
I don't know if everyone in the audience can see it, but especially for Themisto, who has seen it before on a much different scale, the more Phoebe dances and gets lost in the moment. As her hands raise, you begin to notice the faintest outline of wings. And as she puts her head back, the outline of a beak. Very faintly, and only because you've seen it before.
A day passes, and then another. Then another. a rhythm begins to Themisto and Phoebe's life here for the time while you were visiting your parents. Something that feels home-like. Do you go up and visit the Pythia? Or do you continue your journeys for the time being?
What do you think, Phoebe?
I think now is the time to begin speaking with her. Let her
Okay.
know what has happened.
Right. The election won't happen right away,
We still have time to travel.
but she needs to know.
Besides, I cannot stop holding your hand every time we're in town. The people are going to begin to ask questions.
Mm. Yeah. So, to the sanctuary then.
You go to the sanctuary. See if I can find the page with my notes on it. I had it close by, but then I also pulled out 7,000 other notes. This one. Oh, this is not the song that I was expecting.
Uh-oh.
And she
guess we
turns
should've
into a
continued our journey.
She
I was
turned
gonna
into
say,
a
does a giant health bar just appear on the horizon, or
She turns into a giant. She goes fee, fi, fo, fum. Oh my gosh. Okay. You travel up the mountain to this temple. The view now, you guys have seen Mount Parnassus now for a while, but as you guys travel up to this place, there's a little bit of that self of wonder of like, what is just under the surface of this mountain? And as you higher you climb and you look out to the south, to the valley and the sea, all the expanse of the world below your feet, so to speak, it's a marvel. And you see this small little temple. Maybe not, it seems small now in comparison to some of the grandeur of the large scale of some of the ruins that you have seen of this old kingdom. But still, it is as much home to Themisto as her home was, as she'd spent probably the same amount of time in this place as her home as she did in that of her upbringing. She gets in line basically with some of the other people who are here to speak to the Pythia before some of the temple guards recognize who you are. And with a bit of a surprise, usher you in past the line of aspirants who are now kind of like, those in line are kind of like, who is this person that just cut in front of everybody else? But you are brought into the inner sanctum. I was trying to think of the right word here. This inner sanctum of the Pythia before you, Phoebe, is an elderly woman, probably in her late millions, and probably in her like late 80s, early 90s at this point. She has her eyes. She kind of looks like she's asleep in her chair at first, and as she just a generation, yeah. She finally like opens her eyes and like looks upon Themisto, who is entering into this space. Haha, I found it.
That's what she says about her glasses.
Yes.
I found them. Oh, good. I can see.
But she looks up at Themisto and is like,
Oh, is that the Misto?
My Pythia. And Themisto's gonna take a knee and bow.
I will copy that because I don't know what I'm doing.
I would have
Maybe it's
told
just
you
like
what we're
a-
gonna do when we get
Okay.
in there.
You've grown since the last I have seen you.
In some ways, yes. My Pythia.
have you finished? Armente. Have you finished your travels across the world?
I know it seems soon for me to return, but I believe I have, with everything I have seen. I think I am ready.
Oh. None of the other aspirants have returned yet. You are quick. The gods have guided you?
Yes. More directly than I ever imagined. Have you seen?
I have known that you have been doing something important. I have known that there are still important things you are to do.
Me as Aaron, I'm trying to remember. You've been sending her like updates and messages, right?
Yeah, I sent her one when Diodoros died.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually before, and so he was one of
Oh,
the
yeah.
predictions.
Yes.
And then the next chance I got to send her a letter was from Corinth, so she actually would have gotten some decent updates.
Okay.
I did send her in that one specifically, asking her to send sisters to Usurt and to check in on Callisto as well.
Your messages have been curious. A very turbulent journey you have had. As you had suggested, we had sent individuals, but they could not find the one you spoke of, this Usurt. They did also send for this Callisto. That was her name. As I recall, those that returned spoke of a woman very ill, but surviving. What curious things have you discovered in the world?
I have seen so much of what this world used to be, of who the gods are. I have. When I was a baby, the story was said that it was you who decided that I should be here at the Temple of Apollo. That I would be the bridge between Gaia and Apollo. I know them both.
Oh? You have spoken to the gods?
I have.
And what have they said to you?
Mm. That many things. They think that someday I will be a good force in this world.
Hmm.
And they also sent to me Phoebe. She herself is a servant of Apollo.
Ah, I see. Served in the temple of Corinth, if I am not mistaken.
Yes.
Hmm. But more than a companion, I sense.
That is right. Much more. We are to be married.
I see. Given up on the dream of being Pythia, have you?
Ah. If the door is still open to me, it is still something I would like. But I have to do it with Phoebe. I know it is not tradition, but having spoken to Apollo and to Gaia, the hermitage was pain for him and for her both. They don't want us to be alone. Not anymore.
I will pray to them that I might find an answer. Your journey has definitely been different than any other before you. Perhaps it will be enough.
My Pythia, they have a glass of water. I should have one as well. I've been very focused.
I am not as young as I once was. Perhaps we will be selecting a Pythia sooner than imagined.
Don't make those jokes, my Pythia, please.
It is okay. Perhaps it will be enough. But the minds of men are fickle things. Well, minds of men and women. When the time comes, you have my permission to continue your journey, to continue to try and be an aspirant.
You, my Pythia.
But I cannot promise that this dream will come true. And you must be at peace with this.
That will take further reflection, I think, and prayer.
Yes, prayer. I must admit I am somewhat jealous. This path is a lonely one. It is filled with much honor. It is filled with good things. But there are also parts of the heart that I had to stow away. And never have I heard the voice of Gaia. Only seen what they wished me to see in dreams, in visions. Never have I spoken to them.
It was through your guidance, my Pythia. I would not have been walking this path without you.
Congratulations. I wish you the best.
Before we get up, I want to say, would you like to talk to them? Being a little bit more bold than the Mister probably would have been with a significant religious figure in her life before this journey, but everybody grows.
She seems to consider it for a moment. If they were to deem me worthy to have spoken to me, I feel they would have. You have a talent and a gift. I do not wish to take that from you.
I don't know if Themisto is gonna backtalk here. She, in a positive way,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
try to get the Pythia to accept, because I've got something that I could say.
Hmm?
I don't know if it's particularly Themisto of me to do it.
Roll for it. Odds you don't, evens you do.
All right, sounds good. Let's use a less confusing dice for that. I was about to pick up some weird. Okay. One of the things, the lessons you gave to us was that when one of us is to become Pythia, the things we tell to others, and the way we guide them, becomes. It imparts a bit of ourselves. These ripples they carry on throughout each of us. So, perhaps it is your teaching to me, and that has brought us to this point here. And thus, it is not a judgment of unworthiness, but the opposite. And the time is now. Is it not right that the master artisan who builds the temples, sometimes it is not he who lays the capstone, but his apprentice, but they still look on the completed temple together.
If in them, if in you speaking to them, they wish to speak to me, I would not say no. How could I refuse the gods?
Pythia.
Go. Walk the earth with the one you care about at your side. When the time comes, we will speak again. She smiles.
The Misto will smile too, and we'll get up and take our leave.
You bow. Phoebe bows. The two of you leave the sanctuary.
So, we'll walk the earth for a while, huh?
Like I said, there's still time for us to visit, to explore. Hopefully convince some of our friends to join us.
Tell me, Phoebe, have you ever been to Kemet?
I haven't.
I know the answer, but I wanted to ask anyway. That was one of the places I was supposed to go before my journey changed. Do you think Laertes would like to see it?
I think so.
And of course, we'll need the Capitanios to get there.
And the soldier to help guard.
Hmm.
Maybe
so-
less that. Maybe invite another couple on the trip. After all, I still have to get to know who has won my little brother's heart. Make sure he's worthy of Cyprus.
Yes.
And maybe while we're there, do something in memory of Ma'al.
That would be nice. We
I
will
don't
do
know
that.
what's the best thing to do for her. Yell at someone, find a bunch of books.
Both.
Both.
Right, well, we have some letters to write then.
I would do anything as long as it's by your side.
You
I
two,
get a smoocher again.
you two are disgusting. You know that? A voice from behind the Themisto and Phoebe catches you off guard. You turn around slowly, and with arms crossed and foot tapping, a golden-haired youth of Diodoros stands there.
What?
Ugh. Am I going to have to follow along with you, and you're going to be doing this the whole time?
You better get used to it. I kiss her all the time. It's disgusting.
Yes, I know. I said it earlier. It was disgusting.
What are you doing here?
Theodoros, I don't understand.
Well, you've got time. We've got a lot of walking to do. I'll tell you along the way. Sound good?
And wait
Ke-
here.
Kemet? We're going to Kemet?
I've never been to Kemet. Have you ever been to Kemet?
Yeah.
This
Oh.
version of you?
All of the cool people have been to Kemet. That's probably why you haven't been yet. He smiles. And like shoulder checks you a little bit.
Can I make a strength check to see if I budge? I'm hoping he could just like smash into me and he bounces back.
It wasn't necessarily a, that intense of a shoulder check. It was just the playful shoulder check.
Mm-hmm. In that case, I'm gonna throw my arm around and give him a little.
You know, you would think you would learn not to play with fire.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, so I heard.
And Nogi the gods.
He's not the god, he's just Diodoros.
You guys make for a new journey to the land of Kemet. A land of mystery and magics. A land of new gods and new orphics. Where somewhere, deep in the ruins, a broken and cracked sword lies waiting to be unearthed, with all of the knowledge that it contains. But that is a story for a different time, a different age, a different act. Before we leave, some time ago, deep within the recesses of an orbiting cluster of rock, two people walk down a hallway. So, then it was just a simple matter of trying to find a way to recede the waters. I couldn't think of any other way than to try and create a larger celestial body that would be able to counteract the oceans that had now covered the planet. And I thought, well, maybe there's a way that I could do her some justice for the things that she had done for us. So I got a little creative, and I wanted to protect what we had left. And before I knew it, a little creative kind of got the better of me. And, yeah, that's the story of how I made the moon.
Well, simple enough wish. Elegant solution overall.
You know, most of us have used some form of a wish or another in our time. Some of it to great effect, and some of it, well, you've seen how Mother is with Zeus. They have some disagreements on the use of such power.
I gleaned some of that, but I'm still not entirely sure the entire nature of it.
Oh, I'm sure she'll tell you. All you have to do is get her a little bit of something to drink in the meantime. She loves regaling stories of how she's superior to Zeus, at least in some ways.
Well, he is governor, and she literally sits above him on the moon, so...
I knew I was going to like you. But we're here. Just go through those doors. And I will come back in about an hour or so. I've got to go turn in these reports before she flips.
Well, he reaches out a hand again. It was a genuine pleasure to meet you, Briar. I hope we get to talk more.
Oh, I have a feeling that we will. Don't be nervous. He's just a guy, after all.
Well, let's see how this works out then.
She pats his back. You've got this, champ. I'll be back in a minute to check in on you two. You go over to the doors, and they open in front of you. Inside is a large laboratory production space, almost the size of the hangar that you had arrived in earlier. Maybe just a smidge smaller. An entire section of the wall hangs, is now has been disassembled, and there's wires and cables, rope, strange metallic rope that is spread about everywhere. And there in front of it stands a young man, probably in his late 20s, early 30s. He has a similar mechanics jumper on that you had seen some of the people in the hangar bay wearing, but he has it tied down around his waist with the sleeves to keep it from falling. And you see him just this guy pondering some of the wires. This man, this human, part of his chest, just below on the left side from probably 3 or 4 ribs from the bottom to just above the waistline. His body is missing. And in its place is a metallic and marble like section of like partial ab almost that comes in or across the side. You hear his voice as he, like, without turning around, he goes, "Briar, is that you?" And he turns around. And
sorry to disappoint.
he's like, cocks his head to the side. "I know you. I think. You're, one of Hecate's friends, right?
Indeed.
Laertes, if I remember correctly."
The very same.
Oh,
I had the pleasure of working alongside one of your acolytes.
is that so? He takes a step forward, and you see that this handsome young man, one of his eyes glints metallically. And you also see that part of his jaw looks flesh but metal at the same time. It still moves and functions as flesh would, but there is a stiffness to it that kind of moves oddly. And as he walks towards you, there's a little bit of a limp to his walk. Well, my name is Hephaestus, and I understand that your Capitanios, I think they called, has a little... they still have their ship, yeah?
Yes, and from what I have seen, Astrid was quite pleased with the results of your labor.
Well, I did only got to get to try and fix it up a little bit from the damage it had taken. Should be able to withstand a good fair amount of beating now, but I'm not done. You know, I think I can figure out a way to make it fly. If you we have to convince her to like turn the ship over for a little bit, but there might be a way around some of the.
I feel like she could be convinced to dry dock it if that would be the outcome.
Excellent.
It would prevent, the reason why you had to fix it the first time.
Yes, exactly. I mean, from what I understand, it's a long story that I'm very glad it turned out the way it did after a fashion.
I tried to lift it, but it was a bit too much for me at the time.
So, now I understand why Hecate wanted me to meet you. You're one of them special boys, aren't you?
I'm not sure if I should be resenting that title.
Well, I guess only time will see. But, pardon my manners, I think you know who I am, but the name's Hephaestus.
Laertes.
A pleasure. So, you think you know anything about changing calibrations of things? Just kidding, I know you don't. But let's see how quick you can
say that, but I did notice gravity was changing between strata levels from when we first arrived and went further down towards the epicenter. I believe something is oscillating in one of the layers.
You know, it's people like you that can make me forget I'm married. Well, we are definitely going to become good friends, I think.
Well, let's see if you can keep up.
All right. The game's on. The
I
doors.
want to move those wires; they are in the way.
The doors close. And future acts of the Age of Myth await. For that is how this act ends. Yay! Oofed.
Nice.
We did it, Joe.
Oh, don't say that. I guess that's why there's Age of Mythos too.
So I have one question before we head out for the night, Aaron. How many gods are you going to make flirt with me?
As many as
Okay.
I fucking
Okay.
want.
Until Laertes picks one.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
not that the gods
Whoa,
are
whoa,
flirting
whoa.
with you, it's that Aaron wants to flirt with you.
Tomato murder. No, but why do I have to choose? The very point of Laertes as a character is the concept of possibility.
Beautiful. Wow. More stories await, and I look forward to seeing how they turn out. That was pretty freaking dope.
Someone who studies multiple fields of science and mathematics is called a polymath. That's all I'm gonna say.
There's definitely
Hey.
something in the LGBTQ plus of someone who's very interested in
The T.
all this,
No, never
all,
mind.
all the people, but not necessarily in certain aspects of the relationship.
Sapiosexual, I think, is kind of what's going on.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
That's all I'm saying.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I think I gotta finish taping it together. I gotta finish putting it together, but we are going to have. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to stream it and then post it on YouTube or just post it on YouTube. But we do have a Orphix Go to Space special coming where we're going to combine Astrid's. Stream it. Okay. Astrid's trip to space with Astra, as well as a Laertes and Thrannian special that will show him going to the moon and a little bit of the conversations that are had there. Before.
Wait, what about the Mistos convo with Hades?
Oh yes.
Oh, we do need to do that, I guess.
Yes. We'll get there.
We'll
We'll-
work on
Is
that,
the
yeah.
space.
Yeah. So, yeah.
The moon's a big place, so I'm saying.
There's no
Indeed.
space in hell for.
All right.
I
Well,
know, and now
until
David's asking for a wedding one shot. I think he wants a retno to come back.
Ooh.
all right.
We
Well,
do
you
need the retinol to come back for that.
you
yeah.
guys can go have fun with that one.
Okay. Good. All right,
play with that
David, I
retinol
hope you
guy
want to
ever
DM this because we're going to actually have you be the wedding planner in a meta sense too.
At least the reception planner, let's be honest.
All right. Well, we will see you next time. So, in the meantime, be brave, stay fey. That's no moon.
And in the name of the moon, I will bunny spread you.
Damn. Damn.
on you.
Well.
Is what I say to Hephaestus.